I know him. I'm sure. I know.
She knows the units level.
Thank you for that.
Call if you need any help.
This lady don't talk about she goes way too
That's what she said about
She still talks to me. I talk to her in the
I
living
do.
Need help.
I'm gonna call it when I need help too.
There you go. I saw that big. Out of here.
It ain't gonna be long. Make too much lesson? No, I'm not trying to. Oh, really? Wasn't long after that.
They said they're midnight. High power right here.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Yes, I appreciate it. How are you doing?
Who's way?
Helping us. Oh, Ronnie.
Hey,
With the house. He's really helping us a lot. We got a great team. I appreciate it.
Well, try and get us out. Get a solution.
Right.
And that's sad.
I've had oh,
Hey, that's a project today.
where's the oh. Anyway, I
We don't have working five hours on this team. But it appears it's on us as a contract. Before anticipated why we understand that activity. The action right back on why we it's really crazy. One way or the other, we end up my office is too costly for this. I think we're I'm going to about 5 years. When we don't control the lease last 14 years, there's no issue. Again, that terminology says that we have notice our students when they notice they can't even do their email. So we've got to get
Yeah,
States
but,
first.
yeah, yes, that's our problem. Thanks. Yeah, I know.
I'm fairly social.
You're really enjoying this.
He does. Yeah, he's good at it. He's good at it. He loves it. And he's pretty good at it.
Thanks.
All right, it's at 5 after 10.
That's what I said.
Oh, no problem. I believe the train should run on time. Actually,
So they can't. Everybody.
Yeah.
And then you just say. And then. Now you get 90. My house.
it's a combination of us doing some.
Good. Around is good. Right. Yeah, no, I've been talking to people about this right.
How are you, bud? Stay for the game tonight?
It really was.
It was a little warm. It wasn't that uncomfortable. Really? I got it.
The meeting will now come to order. Ms. Griffith, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Williams,
Here.
Ms. Werner,
Here.
Mr. Perry, Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Armenter,
Here.
Mr. Blossman,
Here.
Mr. Brazel,
Up here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Mr. Shadowland,
Here.
Mr. Damp,
Here.
Ms. Jones,
Here.
Mr. Mallett,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Starnes,
Here.
Mr. Woods, Mr. Yarborough.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Swearing in ceremony.
Dr. Rowan of LSU A is going to facilitate the invocation and the pledge and introduce our presenters. But before he does that, I also want to recognize Paul Carell, who's the new chancellor for LSU A. We want to welcome him back to the LSU family. Please say a few words.
This is really an exciting time. I'm so glad to come back to LSU. I love LSU. I've worked here. My career was almost entirely with LSU. And when I retired from the Ag Center, Dr. Richardson and I worked together many years. And I worked in Cameron and Calcasieu parishes way back, 14 years. And I worked at LSU Alexandria. I was interim chancellor there 4 or 5 years ago. And my wife and I really fell in love with the community, with the people of Central Louisiana. And we had decided to move there, and we're building a house there now. And this opportunity couldn't come at a better time for us because she's helping with her elderly mother in Ville Platte, and she wants me out of her business right now. You know, get out of the house because I have a lot of nervous energy. I'm high energy. I like to get involved in the community, and Alexandria is such a wonderful, welcoming community. This last week, I've spent some time up there already on campus and in the community, and it's been wonderful to see the friends and the colleagues from my time there. And John's been wonderful as well. John's reached out, and we've had lunch together already. I went to Sinaloa, the capital already, and I got to meet some of the legislative supporters there. But anything we can do at LSUA for Central Louisiana, let us know, because LSU is deeply rooted in Central Louisiana. It's got a lot of support, got a lot of alumni from the Baton Rouge campus there as well. And they want to see LSU successful statewide. And I'm going to help them do that. And anytime we can help, Mr. Chatelain's reached out as well, and I appreciate the support. And we got a student member of the board. That couldn't be perfect timing for that. But some of you have worked with me before. Many of you may not have, but my door is open. Give me a call. And I'm anxious to partner with the other chancellors, with Dr. Richardson and everybody in the LSU system. And the president's been so warm and welcoming as well, and I appreciate that very much. I think I got all my paperwork signed because I started midnight tonight. So I got to move a bed to Alexandria Sunday, so I have a place to sleep. But we'll get that all done. But thank y'all for the welcome, and thank y'all for the support.
Before you come, Dr. Rowan,
Yeah, I would just welcome Paul, and Paul, if you'd let me know earlier, I would have helped you on that move, but I'm busy that night. Change is never easy at a campus, but I can tell you that the transition, as people have heard that Paul is coming back, has just been extraordinarily well received. We've got a great leadership in our chancellor, John Rowan, has hit the ground running as our provost, so the mood and the outlook and the optimism at LSUA is very, very strong. So thank you. Welcome back, Paul. Thank you, John.
Well, just on that note, trust me when I say everyone on campus is delighted with the appointment of Dr. Carell. He says he starts at midnight tonight. Trust me, he started last week. He has been, and the report from on the ground on campus is very, very positive. So thanks to the President Alexander and everyone for your support. We are delighted to have with us this morning two of our outstanding students from LSU of Alexandria to help us get started. We have Eloisa Rubio, who will be leading the invocation, after which the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Monica Aguilera.
Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for its blessings, its opportunities, and its challenges. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes. Let us be a source of hope for those in need. Help us give our best in everything we do. Come fill our lives with your love. Fill our conversations with your grace and truth. Fill this meeting with your presence. We ask this for your glory and praise. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you.
And I've asked the students to spend just a couple of seconds telling us a little bit about themselves.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here with you guys today. My name is Monica Aguilera. I'm currently a sophomore nursing major with minors in Spanish and psychology. I'm currently your vice president for student government as well. I'll be serving alongside Ricky, and I'm excited to see what this has ahead of us. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Eloisa Rubio. I'm also a sophomore nursing student, and I love to be involved on campus with different activities and clubs. And most importantly, I love to learn and help others. And I'm very excited this fall to start clinicals and also be a peer mentor for future freshmen. And I'm just really happy for all the opportunities and accomplishments I've had at LSUA so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At this time, it is my pleasure to administer the oath of office to our new student board member, Ricky. We'll go down to you. Got a couple weeks left. Yes. Raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States. The Constitution and laws of Louisiana. The bylaws of the LSU Board of Supervisors. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me as a member of the Board of Supervisors according to the best of my ability and understanding. So help me God. Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, you certainly must have sworn in a lot of people, knowing that by heart. Very impressed.
I got to say, that's the first time, and I've seen a lot of people sworn in, but that's the first time anybody did it without using the note.
Absolutely. Very impressed.
When you're only one or two notaries on the board, they get you to do it over.
Funny you missed it. He's done it a couple of times.
All right, well, there are no, other than Mr. Blossman, there are no individuals registered for public comment here. At this time, we will recess the board meeting and move to committee meetings. Is there any objection? Without objection, we will recess the board meetings and move into committee meetings. Mr. Anderson, would you please convene the Academic Affairs Committee meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I'll call the Academic Affairs Committee to order, and Ms. Griffith, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Brazel?
Here.
Mr. Armenter?
Here.
Mr. Shadowland?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Mallett?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Yarbrough?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Dr. Haney, if you would, I'll let you present the consent agenda items for our consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. So we have 7 items today that are on the consent agenda, and these include requests from LSU A&M for a letter of intent for an MS in financial economics. We have 2 letters of intent as well, one from LSU Alexandria, one for a BS in marketing, one for a BS in management. We additionally have a letter of intent from the Health Science Center in New Orleans for an MS in epidemiology, and a request for continued authorization of the Riley Center for Media and Public Affairs, as well as a continued authorization for the Epilepsy Center at the LSU Health Science Center in New Orleans. And finally, and most importantly, the approval to confer degrees at summer commencements. I ask for your favorable consideration of these requests.
Okay, you've heard the consent agenda items. Anyone have any questions? Motion to accept?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion and a second to do that? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Since we have no other business, Mr. Chairman, that conclude, well, no. We need a motion to adjourn the committee. Second. All right, got a motion second to do that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the Academic Affairs Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Chatelain, would you please convene the Finance Committee?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Nicole, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chatelain?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Brazel? Ms. Jones? Here. Mr. Mallett? Here. Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. Werner?
Here.
Mr. Yarbrough?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Nicole. We have one item that is on the agenda, which is an update to our supplier diversity program. And so we will kind of receive a status report on how our efforts in that area are coming. And so, Dan, oh, there you are, sorry.
They moved me.
I was looking for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. We have an update today on the recent activities and the work of our supplier diversity program. Don Lawhorn, who started as the program manager back in February, was unable to be here today, but we have Devon Stevenson, who works in the program, here to present on the results of their work. Devon will describe some recent updates to the program strategy and areas of focus, including their work with our major public-private partnership projects that we have going on, the Charity Hospital redevelopment and our greenhouse district housing project here on the Baton Rouge campus, where we've had some fairly significant recent successes. We will also plan to present a much more comprehensive state of the program update at the September meeting, including data from the fourth quarter of the fiscal year showing providing the metrics on program success. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to Devon to provide the update.
Good morning. It is an honor to be here to present to you today. The strategy, we are actively working to focus on opportunities within the LSU community by providing one-on-one assistance, department trainings, and attending the business manager meetings. We are able to provide instructions and support to the deans, directors, and department heads, so they can contact us and understand what the purpose of the supplier diversity program is and what we're currently doing to connect our diverse suppliers to opportunities within LSU. The areas of focus for summer 2019. We have currently provided a list of diverse contractors to facilities and planning, design, and construction. That list is itemized to identify their commodity areas, their services, as well as the locations that they are providing these services to in Louisiana. The listing has been shared with the project managers, and they are supported and encouraged to share and communicate with the diverse suppliers to make the connections. We've also created a list of identified diverse suppliers in printing and promotional, because we've identified different departments that will be utilizing that commodity area as well. And so we're striving to connect, as I said before, departments directly to the diverse supplier who uses that service. The P3 projects, we are so excited and pleased that our partners are basically fulfilling the mission and helping us reach our goals. The charity project, as it says, they have decided to utilize and contract 2 DBEs, disadvantaged businesses, and they've awarded that, and currently they are in negotiations. We'll share more about those contracts once everything has been finalized. We are also working and supporting our other partners, as well as providing them with diverse suppliers, their contact information, and certifications to make sure that we are vetting and supporting our diverse suppliers in efforts to increase their capabilities and provide opportunities within the LSU community. Recently, the Baton Rouge Procurement Opportunity Partnership was created, and in that partnership, we have been selected to serve. So they're creating, again, opportunities across a variety of organizations, agencies, state-related as well as city-related, and we're, again, working to provide those resources for them. We're also a part of the New Orleans Procurement Council. And again, that's another way we are recruiting diverse suppliers, reaching new diverse suppliers, and bringing them into our database. And most recently, we've joined the Women's Business Enterprise, which is a diverse certification for some women-owned businesses. And what we're doing with them in our partnership, we're using their database as a way to vet and basically reach new diverse suppliers. So we're working to strengthen opportunities within the LSU community. We're also working to recruit new diverse suppliers for the LSU community so we can reach our goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to say, as I've said many times, I've certainly been critical when I thought the program was not moving along. Devon, you, and Don, Dan have done a really great job of getting this program on track and making some very positive steps in the right direction. The program is taking shape. It looks like, I think, the university and the board has always wanted it to look. Clearly, you guys have put a lot of work into doing this. King, it's apparent to me that you have made this a priority. And I want to say on behalf of myself, because I've been very interested in this, but also all the board members who've been so supportive of this, thank you for bringing this along and for making a very positive move with this program.
Thank you.
And with everything coming up in the next 60 days, we hope to see some really big wins in this program. And we certainly, that's what we expect, and that's what we're lined up to do. So we appreciate everybody's work on this.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Devon, Dan, thank you all.
Thank you.
With that, that concludes the business of the Finance Committee. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion and a second. Any opposition? Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chatelain. Mr. Brown, would you please convene the Property and Facilities Committee?
Yes. Ms. Griffin, would you please call roll?
Mr. Woods? Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Brazel? Mr. Chatelain?
Here.
Mr. Damp?
Here.
Mr. Mallett?
Here.
Mr. Starnes?
Here.
Mr. Yarborough?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We have two matters before us today for consideration, and I'd like to call on Mr. Danny McCafferty to bring those forward to our Property and Facilities Committee.
Thank you. The first item is a project that is a result of Hurricane Katrina. We negotiated with FEMA to rebuild certain elements on the ground level to elevate it above floodwater, and there is an elevated walkway as part of that project. So to build it across the street, we need air rights from the city of New Orleans, and this resolution authorizes the president to execute that lease, and we recommend approval.
Any questions? If none, I would entertain a motion.
We're leasing the air. I just want to make sure I'm reading this right.
It is no cost.
Let me,
No call.
do we have a motion to recommend?
I'll move.
Thank you, Mr. Starnes. Thank you, Mr. Yarborough. If there's no objection, then this motion is approved. Next item, please.
This item is roadway improvement to the LSU Innovation Park, and this project was approved as an Act 959 project by the board earlier, but after we discovered that some of the funding from the Louisiana Economic Development was actually state dollars rather than a grant, we had to add it to the capital outlay budget request, which is what we're doing with this resolution, and we recommend approval.
So move.
Second.
If without objections, this or any questions? Without objections, this is approved. This is This concludes our committee meeting, and I would entertain a motion
So moved.
to close. Thank you. Our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mrs. Jones, would you please convene the athletic committee?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Nicole, please call roll.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Armenter?
Here.
Mr. Blossman?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Damp?
Here.
Mr. Starnes?
Here.
Mr. Woods? Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Griffith. Before we begin today, I want to take a moment to congratulate the 84 student athletes who received their diploma earlier this spring. The LSU athletics class of 2019 includes 5 NCAA champions and 8 student athletes receiving master's degrees. This is what LSU athletics is all about, competing at the highest levels on and off the field. Since we last met, our men's track and field team claimed its 23rd SEC championship, while the men's and women's tennis teams featured 18 All-SEC honors, in addition to Coach Dennis Shaver, who earned Coach of the Year honors on the men's side. 10 individuals and 3 relays secured spots at the 2019 NCAA Outdoor Championship in June. Finally, our softball team made yet another deep run in the postseason, and baseball will begin their run tonight, hopefully to Omaha. So go Tigers, and I hope to see you all at the box this weekend. All right, before we have Mr. Osbury come up to present, please note that item number 1 does not require board approval, as it was approved as part of his existing contract. So item number 1 will not be addressed today. Mr. Osbury, would you please come up to present on items 2 and 3, please?
Thanks, Ms. Jones. And our AD, Scott Woodward, is here. Yeah, we were in Sandestin for SEC meetings, but we both came back on time to be here for the meeting.
Awesome.
The first item is Coach Mickey Joseph. Mickey is one of our young football coaches, our wide receiver coach. His contract ended in March. Coach O is very high on this young man. He's one of our best coaches on the field and one of our best recruiters. And we're going to extend his contract and give him 2 years at the $300,000 mark. And ask for your approval on his contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any objections? All right, all in favor? Well, without objection, the motion is approved. All right, the next item, Mr. Osbury?
Next coach is Jay Clark. Tell you about Jay Clark. Jay is one of the best coaches in the country in gymnastics. Jay is up for every time a head coaching job comes up around the country in gymnastics, his name is mentioned. Dee Dee Burrow has been here over 40-some years. You know how good she is in the business, and she recommended not only giving him a contract extension, but also making him a co-head coach. He's the foundation of our program, especially in recruiting, some of the great teams we've had here over the last few years, and I ask that you approve his contract.
Anybody have any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any objections? Without objection is approved. Thank you, Mr. Osbury.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on our agenda is Chancellor Clark going to present on that? Okay, thank you, Chancellor.
Good morning. We have 3 coaching contracts to present to you this morning. 1 is for a new coach, and 2 are for our existing coaches who did not have a contract, which we have now formally put to contract. Those would be the soccer coaches. In the men's coach, is Matthew Strickland. You can see that he has a 3-year contract, as the other 2 does. They go up over the 3-year period of time, includes a small amount for incentive performance. There also is included for all the coaches at our athletic director that they have an annual fundraising target as part of their responsibility. Matthew Strickland, although this is his first time to be a head coach, he has been involved with 8 All-American players as an assistant coach This will be the first time at LSU Shreveport that we will have a non-white coach as a head coach. And so I'm really pleased that we've made that move as well. Ashley Holland is put forward for the head women's soccer coach. This is Ashley's second year. This was her first year to have a contract, or excuse me, first year to be a coach. You may see that the salary is different from her versus the third person, which is Mr. Philip Bone, who's the head men's soccer coach. Let me explain why that is the case. Philip Bone has had a very strong coaching background. We had discontinued soccer when the budget situation became very difficult for the university. We reestablished soccer. And so when he came in, we ended up matching what he was making to recruit him in. And he was involved in also helping us in recruiting international players, putting in process what we needed to do through the admissions office and otherwise. So he has a lot of experience. Ashley Holland, again, as a women's soccer coach, this is her first coaching experience. We did benchmark within our conference for what the salary should be. It aligns with LSU Alexandria in terms of what we looked at, and so that is why there's a difference. For Ms. Holland, this year they were second in the conference and they won the conference tournament. We're just heard mention about grade point average. I'm pleased to say that her team was just slightly under 3.0, but she had 10 of the 18 students had above a 3.0 average, and we had our first All-American female. For Mr. Bone, they won the conference regular season championship, and I have to be, I'm not saying about the fact to do those kind of things, LSUA is in the conference, but I won't mention what more that would mean. Mr. Bone won the Coach of the Year. His team had a 3.12 GPA with 18 student athletes above 3.0. He has had 2 All-Americans already in his first 2 years. Those are the 3 coaches we're putting before you. And again, all 3 have small incentives and all 3 have annual fundraising expectations.
Thank you, Chancellor, and I appreciate you addressing those differences in pay. Of course, as a woman, I want to make sure that the female athletes, coaches are all treated
Absolutely.
fairly.
And I appreciate the question that came back to me for that. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate that response. Okay, so the request from LSU Shreveport to approve employment contract with Ashley Holland, head women's soccer coach. Are there any questions regarding that? Is there a motion?
So moved.
How about a second? Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Without objection, it is approved. Okay, request for LSU Shreveport to approve employment contract with Matthew Strickland, head women's basketball coach. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to recommend the request as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Without objection, it's approved. Okay, and request for LSU Shreveport to approve employment contract with Philip Bond, head men's soccer coach. Are there any questions? All right, is there a motion to recommend the request as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any objection? Without objection, it is approved. All right, Mr. Chairman, this concludes, well, okay.
Chancellor Crowe,
I just wanted to say, and to brag a little bit while we're on in the Athletics Council committee meeting, that LSU's girls softball team won the national championship early this week. So
Thank you for sharing.
that's once again.
once again, it's their 6th.
Awesome.
So will our championship rings be at the June?
Yeah, right.
It may take till July or August, but they'll be on the way.
We can wait, we can wait.
That is awesome. Congratulations. I'll accept a motion to conclude the business of the Athletics
So
Committee.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye. Any objection? All right, without objection, the committee is adjourned. Mr. Chairman, the Athletics Committee has concluded.
Thank you. This concludes our committee meetings for today. We will stand in recess until 12:45 p.m., at which time we will bring the board back to order. At this time, the board is going to go to do a tour of the Middleton Library, a tour and inspection, I should probably call it, of the Middleton Library. After that tour, we will return here to the system building for lunch, and then we'll reconvene at 12:45.